babies.
If you watch it on YouTube, you're welcome. We look particularly good today, especially Ray.
Thanks. Thank you.
This show's brought to you by Peloton, apparently.
Mm.
We'll get them. We'll get them. Look, you could be the key to a major sponsorship deal.
Could you make it through the show on a Peloton? Like, could you exercise on the show?
Now, does he have
How
to
much do I
give
have to
his
talk?
regular stupid takes? Or
Yeah,
As
do I have to
normal as
talk?
you would. That just like at a casual pace on the bike and just casually as you would.
That's a good one to do. And we already have the before picture. If we just take Dark Side of the Fupa as your before and then get a nice after picture, all with your Peloton on
that
the
one
on
where
the
he
show.
looks like a terrorist.
You haven't seen the Dark Side of the Fupa yet, Bobby.
I'll send you the Dark Side of the Fupa.
Oh god, there's another one. God damn it.
It's on par with the lady shoving a fish up her cooter. That we'll talk about later. If that doesn't get you fired up, then W Energy will. Go to w.gg, type in promo code Simple Minds for 15% off all orders. You got to get into the energy game. It's not just drinks anymore. They got gummies, they got sauces, they got sprinkles, whatever you need. Shakes, shake it. Whatever you need to get your day started or to finish it off, go to w.gg, Simple Minds for promo code 15% off all your orders. Jason Tatum, the MVP, 55 points, 22 of 31 field goals, 10 of 18 from three, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 35 minutes in a win, 184 to 175 in what Jaylen Brown described as a glorified layup line. Obviously, the All-Star game has just evaporated into nothing. I just had zero desire to watch it. It's on late. I don't care about it. They had a couple good years there where they changed the rules where the fourth quarter was competitive, but the last 2 years and then this one was a joke. But Tatum went out, dropped 55, broke a record. Anthony Davis, 2017, had the scoring record, got his MVP, which is important because let me give you some statistics. And I chronicled this in depth on simplemindsports.com, which is blaring with page views right now. So go check that out. Go to the blog. The last four of the last 5 All-Star MVPs have made the NBA Finals. 2 of those 4 have won the NBA Finals. It would have been 3 of 4, but Slim Reaper's Achilles snapped in 1,000 pieces.
Mm-hmm.
The only year the MVP did not make it in the past 5 was Kawhi Leonard. You know what year that was?
2020.
2020.
Year.
What happened that year? 7 million people died. That's right.
Oh, COVID.
COVID or the China virus, depending on which hat you're wearing. China. We don't talk politics on the show.
No.
2018, LeBron, MVP of the All-Star game. 2019, Kevin Durant, MVP of the All-Star game. 2020, Kawhi. 21, Giannis, they won. 22, Steph, obviously, they just won. So I ask, how important is it that Jason Tatum won the MVP? On the surface, we want to say not at all. But in today's NBA, it's basically anointing the next greatest player in the league. If you take that list, LeBron, Durant, Kawhi, Giannis, Steph, every one of those has been a league MVP and obviously considered the best player in the league at one point in time. So your thoughts on Tatum and his MVP performance in Salt Lake City?
For Dookie, that's amazing because that's probably going to go right up there with the Deuce's first Father's Day card that he gave him because, he just cares about the nonsense. Like, this isn't MJ or Kobe that we're talking about. This is the next generation of these guys that are soft and just want all the accolades and participation trophies. So good for him. Hopefully he gets a little bit more money because he needs it. And, bring us a ring now.
Is it good for, here you go, Bobby. Is it good for him, you cynical fuck, or is it good for the Celtics? Because what led to those LeBron, Durant, and Steph and Giannis is they went to the championship and 2 of them won it. 3
But one of them didn't.
Well, the world stopped.
So it's good for it's good for Tatum. It's not good for the Celtics. There.
Well,
if
Tatum are you following me, Bobby, or is this?
Well, I'm following
Peloton
from a historical perspective. Like, yes, this is an excellent thing for him to attract to be on, but like it's a track that isn't like it's not concrete. It's just like kind of like a happenstance thing. Like Put it this way.
How dare you criticize my statistical
I'm not
analysis?
criticizing it. I'm saying that it just doesn't mean anything. Like, that's all. Like,
Thank you, Bobby.
Listen,
I'm not
Tatum
saying it's
cares
useless.
about
I'm
the
just saying
All-Star
it's
game.
bullshit.
Yeah, whatever. Tatum cares about it. The players care about it. I don't know if the Celtics do. Like, it's that. Here's the deal. The Celtics care about how he plays in the fourth quarter. Everybody knows that this guy can put up points and score. And I think part of what the league, like, you look at this list, I think the participants in the All-Star game are half like, all right, it's this guy's time to shine. And they were all just half letting Tatum just have his game because they're not really playing. So
Who had his shoe drop that day too?
Exactly. There you go. And the shoe drop. So it's really more about how he prepares in the fourth quarter. He's got to be ready to. We all know he can just get out there and play ball, but when the money's on the line is what matters for Tatum.
I'm with you. I mean, I get it. On the surface, like I said, on the surface, it really doesn't mean anything. But I think it's unwise not to pay attention to those trends in the NBA. And as much as we want to be old guys and say, yeah, they let him have his day, and there's no defense, and did he really earn it? I don't know. This is just the way that they do it now, and the way they do it when it's his day. Generally, he goes on to an NBA championship for the past half decade. So I think that bodes well for you. I think the better part of this is his running mate, Jaylen Brown, who also had a killer game, 35 points, 16 to 27, 14 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals in 25 minutes. He came out after the game, after his buddy won the MVP, and said, quote, all is fun. Excuse me. All is fun in games like this, he said. Real basketball is different. This was like a layup line. I don't know how much notoriety we would want to get from this. This was a glorified layup line. We got to figure out how to make this game a little bit more competitive. If the fans like it, that's all that matters. The fans don't like it, Jaylen. The fans don't like it. And then this was followed up. I don't know if Anthony Edwards said this before or after the All-Star break, but this is just to cue into maybe these Gen Zers are not as big of pussies as the millennials that Ray hates so much. Anthony Edwards came out and said, quote, all these guys sitting, resting, that's the only thing I probably don't like. Just play, man. If you're 80%, you got to play. I don't like sitting, missing games and stuff. These people might have enough money to come to one game, and that might be the game that they come to and you're sitting out. And just to go along with this narrative that I'm creating, YouTube brought me to the 2003 All-Star game the other night while I was up at 4 o'clock in the morning doing the baby thing. And I watched it basically in its entirety. Those fuckers played. Like, they played hard. That was Garnett, Kobe, Duncan, Michael Jordan was his last game. They were making a big hurrah at him. It went to double overtime. Steph Marbury was drilling threes. Kobe Bryant was hitting threes. MJ hit a turnaround J that should have won the game. I mean, look, it wasn't the NBA Finals with the defense, but you compare that to what we saw over last weekend and now, and they were out there to put on a show basketball-wise, not just glorified layup lines. So it feels like between Jaylen, Anthony Edwards, and some of these other guys that are coming up, there will be some changes. And if Jaylen Brown's the running mate to Jason Tatum, who likes to glorify it, and Jaylen's like, no, let's actually play some ball, I think you got a good dichotomy on your team. All to say, I think you're heading in a very good direction with all that combined for the Celtics.
It looks like the league is aligning for it to be the Celtics' year.
It's Celtics are bust now. I mean, you're the best team in the NBA. Who you have in the East, it's going to be a problem for you. You have a clear final, destination of the finals, and you went there last year. You got punched by a dynasty because the Golden State just took your fucking. What, they won in 5 or 6? Yeah. 6. I mean 6. So I mean, Golden State, I don't think will be there. So there's really no you should win the NBA title, barring any injuries.
Just get Mike Muscala the ball and get the fuck out of the way.
Great white hope.
And a $20 million ball to Grant Williams. Yeah, I think you've got. I think all the pieces are in place. You got to stay healthy. And Bobby, you hit it. Your best player has to perform in crunch time, and that gap has widened for Jason Tatum. When he started out, he's had pressure on him since he was a rookie. He's been starting since he was a rookie. In the fourth quarter, that gap of him being able to execute was really wide. Now it's down to like the last minute of a game in a 2-possession game, and he kind of falls apart. You give him the ball up to with 30 seconds left. I've seen him hit a lot of those shots. So can he narrow that gap enough, or will he need to? Is this is the Celtics team just head and shoulders above everybody else to the point where they might not need him to do that?
That's where Missoula's got to earn his money, his undisclosed contract money. If he's going to be like that, then he's got to coach around it.
Agreed. Any thoughts on them taking the intern tag off of Missoula before the All-Star break?
It was always going to happen, right? I mean,
why now though? That's the big question. Why all of a sudden?
I mean, I like a lot of the theories that came out. So you went and coached the All-Star game. He's going to be around all these All-Stars, the best players in the league. We know the fraternizing that goes on there. You don't want a guy part-time. Am I going to be there next year? Jaylen Brown's contract's coming up, which we'll get to in a second. Jason Tatum is, heralded as one of the top 3 players in the league right now. So you start putting doubt in people's minds, and then you get him around all these other guys. Shit happens. So lock him in. Now he's here. He's got a contract. He's a Celtics head coach, youngest coach in the league, best record in the league, best player in the league. You guys got something cooking. Like you said, Bobby, they rolled out the red carpet for Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. They let him go one-on-one for basically 4 possessions straight at the All-Star game in front of the world. It was the Celtics weekend. And I think it was important for them to give Missoula the head coaching job, because you're right, Bobby. It was always going to happen. They were never going to bring Udoka back. I don't know what kind of legal shit was getting in the way of firing him, or gamesmanship of waiting long enough through the season where he's not going to go coach another team this year. So I think it's all good. I don't think you have many arrows pointing down for the Celtics right now, except the other comment out of Jaylen Brown this past week, which I'll read to you. Some people are taking it as a positive. I immediately took it as a branch shaker. Let me give it to you. Jaylen Brown, I labeled him as a flight risk. He said, quote, "It takes sacrifice on my behalf," Brown told reporters at the NBA All-Star Weekend in Salt Lake City. "It's definitely a lot of opportunities that you can be that guy, but the ultimate goal for me and Jason has always been to win games. So when you see team dynamics, there's nothing wrong with doing your job on the team. So throughout my career, I've learned to be and play the role that has been needed for me to play, and I think that's part of why the success has been able to happen. Being able to humble yourself and be like, yeah, I know I could be something doing somewhere else, but there's no problem being a great team guy and winning here in Boston." There are a lot of happy words in that sentence. Sounds to me like a guy who thinks he's better than the position he's in, and maybe itching for a chance to prove it. Am I off?
No,
I think he's been talking to Grant Williams.
They're going to go start their own team. They have 2 max contracts. Let's go, Grant.
Fuckers. Am I off there? Do you think he has the maturity to go, I can be the Klay Thompson, I can be the Scottie Pippen, I can be the 1B here and be cool with it? The other positive the Celtics have is if he makes the All-NBA team this year, he's got $270 million coming his way if he sticks with the Celtics, as opposed to a measly 180 if he goes somewhere else. I don't know. It's not just this comment. He said things like this in the past. I think he's mature enough to do it now, and I think that they're on a good track to win a championship this year. But if they win a championship this year, bye-bye. Don't you think the last box for him to check is I can go do this by myself?
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. I think if they win an NBA championship, that's going to be the deciding factor for him to leave, because he did it with Jason. They won the games. He won a championship with him, and now let me go do it by myself.
Yeah. I think he's insinuating that he could be the number one on a team. Like, he could be the best guy on, insert random NBA team that gets
Sacramento
him into the playoffs. Yeah, exactly. Any of those things where he could get the max deal and just get all his stats and ball and never have to worry about it. He was there first. I think he might be a little bit salty that Tatum got anointed and he didn't maybe get that full look. I mean, he was still a high pick. What was he, 5? Something like
3.
that? He was 3. Okay. Yeah. He was still a high pick. So he might be a little salty about that. And he might think he knows Tatum's game in and out and sizes him up. He might think he's every bit as good as he is. Every bit.
He's not. I mean, I love Jaylen Brown, but he's not as good as Tatum. He doesn't see the doubles. He doesn't see the triples that Tatum sees. He's not as big. He's not as good of a shooter. He's not as good of a scorer. He's not even good as a defensive. He's just not as good as Jason Tatum. He's terrific. I would love it if he had the maturity just to be like, fuck it. Like, I'll ride with Tatum and be the next Golden State Warriors for the next 7 years. That'd be great. I have my doubts.